You're listening to the My Simplified Life podcast, and this is episode number 51. Welcome to the My Simplified Life podcast, a place where you will learn that your past and even your present don't define your future. Regardless of what stage of life you're in, I want you to feel inspired and encouraged to pursue your dreams, simplify your life, and start taking action today. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, and I'm excited to share my stories and life lessons with you while taking you on my own journey. This is My Simplified Life. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, and today this one is for the moms, the working moms. My guest is Time Stylers founder, Kate Christie. She is an Australian who is absolutely adorable, a wealth of knowledge. She is a coach, a best-selling author. She's got 4 books. She's an attorney, a mom of 3. You name it, she does it all. And her newest book is called Me First. It's coming out this month at Targets in the United States, and it is all about how women can find 30 hours a month to get back to themselves. That sounds incredible to me. I don't know about you. I read the book and I just had to have Kate on because so much of her book is, as you'll hear us say, it's not rocket science, but yet we still need to be told that we should be able to do these things, like have your kids pick up after themselves, teach them how to be a part of your household, and that really everything in your house is a team sport, so everyone should be participating. These are some of the things that we're talking about today, along with work-life balance and how neither of us believe in actual balance, but you'll hear what we talk about that we do think is balance and that living in the moment is part of that, and you know, how you come about with your values and your priorities and how things change once you become a mom and you have this tiny human that you're now entrusted with. So I loved having this conversation with Kate. I know you're going to get a lot out of this. So have your coffee, grab a glass of wine, and listen to my amazing conversation with Kate Christie. Hi, Kate.
Good morning. Well, it's probably not morning for you guys. Hey,
it's afternoon. Yeah.
Good afternoon. I've just lost a day somewhere.
I know. I was prepping dinner before we jumped on here.
Oh, wow.
And you're having breakfast.
Yeah, I am. I'm having brekkie. I just woke up.
I love it. And I love that you just said brekkie because in your book, I had to keep reminding myself that you're not an American. So,
okay. So you guys just say breakfast?
I think the one word that kept standing out to me was, is it floordrobe?
Yeah.
What do you call your wardrobe or your closet?
Well,
is your floordrobe?
That was because I call it that because my kids leave all their clothes on the floor. So
it makes sense. I was like, oh, okay. That totally makes sense.
It's not clean up your wardrobe because there's nothing in there. It's clean up your floordrobe, which means get the clothes off the floor and put them into the wardrobe.
I love that. So before we dive right on in, can you please introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Kate Christie. I'm the CEO and founder of Time Stylers. I'm a time management specialist. I'm the best-selling author of 4 books. I'm a speaker and a coach, and I work with high-performing individuals and teams to help them take their success to the next level because, you know, it all comes back to time and productivity.
It does. And I am so excited to share with my listeners your new book that is coming out to Target right about when this was going to air. I think that is so exciting. Me First.
Me First.
So let's talk about it because yes, Me First. It's a book about finding 30 hours a month back for yourself as a working mom. And before we started recording, we were both agreeing that, you know, some of this is not rocket science. Like, you should be doing this already, ladies. But you guide him in such a good way of, you know, really reflecting on what your priorities are and your values are. What was your motivation for the book?
I guess, look, I was one of a generation of women who was told that I could have it all, and I was raised that way, and it worked really well for me. I had this inner confidence that I could have it all. I had, and I sort of my simple formula for success was a little bit of talent, but heaps of drive and loads of hard work, and I could pretty much have whatever I wanted. And it worked for me through school and university and into my career as a lawyer. And all of a sudden, it fell apart when I had kids. And I had 3 kids. I had 3 babies in 3.5 years, which, was entirely my own fault. I get that. But
no, don't say that, because I had 2 in 12 months and it was a total surprise. And I blame my husband.
Yeah, exactly. Irish twins. My goodness.
Yes.
So, and the wheels really started to fall off. And, fast forward a couple of years down the track, and I had kind of backed myself into a corner where I was juggling so many balls. I was a senior executive at work. I was a mum and jack of all trades at home. And I'd backed myself into this corner where I sort of got to the space where I thought I can either be a really great mum or I can have a really great career, but not both. And so I opted out of my amazing career because I was overcome with, mum guilt and imposter syndrome, and I felt that I was being judged, and I was certainly judging myself. And what I guess that time out from my career gave me was the perspective just to reframe and realize, a couple of things. I didn't need to have it all. I just needed to be chasing after the bits that were most important to me. And once you actually define exactly what is the most important thing to you, that becomes your all, you can have it all. And so I guess I reframed my time, reframed my headspace, and it worked really well for me. And then I had girlfriends who were in a very similar situation say, oh my God, can you just talk to me or take me through the process you took yourself through? So I did that. And then someone said, look, you got to write a book. And that was my first book. So that was, 4 or 5 years ago. So Me First is my 4th book. And this one, I guess, is much more opinionated. I'm sort of owning my space now, and I've spoken to hundreds and hundreds of women around the world who feel the same or felt the same as me, where they feel that they've got no choice but to choose between 2 things they love for want of time. And so that's my motivation. I don't want anyone, man or woman, to have to choose between an amazing career and being a mum, or an amazing life and being a mum. You should never have to choose for want of time. So the book is really practical. It's about, okay, here's how you get control of your time so that you can have all the bits that are most important to you.
I love what you said about, what you value most. And I think that, at least for me, I valued my, let's call it rank, at work. I was in the corporate world, and, I moved a lot before I got married for work. And, I was promoted, and the money came and the bonus came, and that was a priority for me. And I thought that, that would continue to be until I had my first child. And within 6 weeks, my boss wanted me to travel to New York. And I was like, I'm not leaving my baby. You've got to be kidding me. Your priorities shift. And I think that that's something we don't quite expect.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely
until
agree.
It really happens.
Yeah. And then you've got those people around you, like your boss, who just have this expectation that, well, Michelle's always worked this way. She's always gone where we wanted her to go, and she's amazing, and she does all this stuff, so she'll do it now. And it's just like, guys, my baby, I've got a baby, It's extraordinary, that external pressure, and it's really debilitating, because then you're sort of caught between a rock and a hard place, because you want to do well in your career and you want to continue doing the job you love because it gives you a lot of self-worth. But then you've got this little baby, this little being that, the pull is there, and, that never goes away. My oldest baby is 20. He turned 20 this year, and I still have that pull. So it's about recognizing that as a woman, giving yourself permission to, recognize that and to start having the courage to have those conversations at work to say, no, look, I've got other priorities and obligations that I have to juggle here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that I think we're talking about it more, but it's still not recognized in the same way. And in that regard, we've got distance learning now. And I know that the statistics are saying that, moms are carrying the burden even more so.
Yeah.
And in our household, we really try to be even about it. My husband and I own my own business. He's still in the corporate world, but we'll juggle back and forth of, okay, when do you have a call? When do I have a call?
Yeah.
You watch the kids. Now I'm going to watch the kids. And so I don't feel that in the same way that I think a lot of other women are right now. And I'm lucky in that regard. But, this is something you also talk about in the book of, who can help you within your household, whether it's your spouse or partner or even your kids. And it kills me when people are, women specifically, it's like teach your child to, be an independent person.
Absolutely.
And you hit on this so perfectly. Talk about this part of the book. I love it.
I'm with you, Michelle. It drives me nuts. There's, in terms of managing your time, the two areas you're going to get heaps of time back are identifying everything that you can outsource or delegate. And then the other bundle is identifying everything that you can reject because, we all have crazy little habits that add up. They rob us of time. And so it's about shining the light on those things and working out what don't I need to do or what can I do differently. Now, in terms of outsourcing and delegation, on the home front, there's two types. There's traditional outsourcing, which is where you identify everything that you currently do that you're prepared to pay an expert to do because they'll do it faster, better, and cheaper than you. So, for example, you pay for a cleaner. You work out what your hourly rate is in your business or in, your corporate role, and then you compare that to how much you can engage an expert for a cleaner, and they're going to do it faster than you because they're the expert, right?
Mm-hmm.
The flip side of that is insourcing. And that's where you identify everything that you currently do for the people that you live with that they can do for themselves that you don't have to pay them for. Hang up your towel, put away all your stuff, make your bed, unload the dishwasher, load the dishwasher, clean up your wardrobe, put a load of washing on, walk the dog, feed the cat. Family is a team sport and we have to get our kids engaged and involved as early as possible because when they're little, right, they're compliant. It's a game. They want to do it.
They love it.
Exactly. Yeah. If you wait till they're 14, you're screwed. They're not going to do it.
The words out of my mouth. Yes.
So, it's about establishing those kind of patterns and habits really young. I'm all for handing your 5-year-old the vacuum. Now, that's not because you're expecting your 5-year-old to vacuum like a pro. It's so that when your 5-year-old is 15 and you tell him to vacuum, he's going to do it without complaining or without complaining too much. And by that stage, he will be a pro because he's been doing it for 10 years.
Exactly. We do it in our house. We don't hand them the vacuum cleaner, but they love to dust. So they get to dust and they know how to do laundry. They don't quite know how to separate. But like the other day I was on the phone and it was my husband, my laundry was in the washing machine and it beeped. And my 5-year-old goes, I got this. And my husband looked at me like, should I interrupt you on the call? And I'm like, no, he's got this. He goes, Dad, I know how to put it in the dryer and hit on.
So good. Oh my God.
He gets it. They love it.
You're my poster girl.
And they set the table every night for dinner. I make sure that they don't have, they're still eating off of like plastic plates from IKEA, not the glass plates.
Yeah.
So they can help put it in, the sink. They don't know how to wash dishes yet, but I think it's important. My 4-year-old, she loves to fold socks and underwear.
Yes.
And so she does all of her dad's socks and underwear, every laundry. And she goes, is that the white load? Because that's the one I want to help with.
I like his white waferings. See, that's ace, though, because, you're giving her you're empowering her, right? And she's feeling independent, and that helps with resilience, and it helps with confidence. And bottom line, it helps you, because ultimately it's one less thing you got to do.
Yeah. And I think it also reinforces spending time together. It allows the kids to, we can chat while we're folding laundry and, why are we cleaning this? Why do we have to clean the bathroom? All of these things are, now you understand why I say don't pee on the toilet because I have to clean it. Now you understand these things.
Exactly. No, it's so true. So it's just about instilling some really good habits young. And, ultimately, my daughter's going to grow up to marry, want to marry your sons, right? So they all have to know how to do this stuff and how to run a house. And, I can't tell you how many times, where people, if I'm at a speaking engagement and talking about this stuff, or if, someone has read my book, and often, they'll say something like, oh, I love the idea of family being a team sport. I love the idea of insourcing, but, I think my kids are too young. And I'll say, well, how old are they? And they'll go, 12 and 14. And I'm just like, what the hell? What have you been doing for the last 10 years?
I think it's parenting these days, and I'm not going to throw everyone under the bus, for this, but like, we're distance learning. And the first day of school, my son, who's now in kindergarten, the teacher said, grab your pencils and we're going to write. I think they were doing their names. Mm-hmm. And some mother came on. She goes, well, my son doesn't know how to hold a pencil. He's never written before. And I went, well, what are you doing at home for 5 years? Come on, people, let's participate. Let's all get in the game.
That's it. Come on,
talk about kids, and and going back to the book. There's one spot where it was. I think it's an excuse you say, but I want to hear how you would tell me to handle this. Is the constant interruptions?
Yeah,
because even we don't have childcare. We didn't before COVID. And I try to get up between 5 and 6 so I can beat the kids, before they wake up. But once they're up, and say by 6:30 until school starts at 8:15, it's constant. Mom, can you get me breakfast? Mom, I need more orange juice. Mom, I need this. Mom. So those are my constant interruptions, because they're here all day. And, my husband's working too. So how do you deal with those to get your hours back?
Yeah. So interruptions, like if you just taking it out of the family space, just thinking in terms of interruptions generally, interruptions cost us massively in terms of our productivity. So every time we're interrupted, it means we're multitasking, because we were doing something at the point of interruption. So now we're doing 2 things or 3 things, depending on how many people are interrupting you. And that decreases your productivity by up to 40%. So as a starting point, if you're trying to work on a document, or you're doing some work and your child's there constantly interrupting you, then you're working at kind of 60% of your productivity capacity. Now, in terms of, to start with, just be aware of that. In terms of those, if you're homeschooling, for example, and you're trying to work at the same time, or your husband's trying to work at the same time, a really great way to try and deal with that is to, set your kids up on their own little workstations near where you're working. It's kind of like parallel play in kinder, They don't necessarily want to be interacting with you. They just want to be near you. Mm-hmm. Then what I have been talking a lot to my clients about, and it's working a treat, is to batch your time in sort of 30-minute bursts of work, and get your kids engaged on their activity or their schoolwork or whatever they're doing, the Lego or drawing, for the same 30 minutes. And then you take your kids into the kitchen, and if they're tall enough, they do it themselves. If not, you lift them up, and they set the oven timer for 30 minutes. And you explain to them, we're all going to work quietly. You're going to do your Lego quietly, or you're going to do your schoolwork quietly. Mum and Dad, we're going to be working quietly. When the alarm goes off, we're going to do something fun together for 15 minutes, and you guys get to choose. And it's just incentivizes them to just have that 30 minutes. And if you do that sort of 3 times a day in the morning, so 30 minutes, a 15-minute break, 30 minutes, 15-minute break, 30 minutes, 15-minute break, you've got an hour and a half of work done. They've been focusing for an hour and a half. Now, if you repeat it for a couple of days, and they are the ones who get to set the alarm and turn the alarm off, and they know that there's a 15-minute reward at the end where they choose the activity. And it could be dancing around the house, it could be baking, it could be, cuddling, it could be whatever. It works really well, really, really well to keep them focused.
I love that idea. I'm going to start trying that because my son, the teacher is giving him a break every 30 minutes. She forgot to tell us that when she started class. So we now know that every 30 minutes he will go, I've got a 10-minute break. But that leaves me with my 4-year-old who's used to having her playmate.
Yeah.
So she's like, can we play Barbies? I want to play Barbies. Can we do this?
Yeah.
And I'm going, no. But I like this idea.
Because then what you can say to her is, yep, when the alarm goes off, we've got 15 minutes and we'll play Barbies. So, but whilst everyone's doing the quiet stuff, you need to sit and play Barbies on your own, or you need to do some drawing. And the other thing that's working really well with my clients with really young kids is set them up and just give them a little keyboard. So they don't, because people say, well, I'm worried about my kid being on the iPad for too long or whatever. Just if you're in a meeting or a Zoom call, just sit them with a piece of paper and a pen, even when they're like little and they don't know what they're doing, or with just a blank keypad not joined to anything, and tell them to take notes of mummy's meeting. And they'll sit there and they'll just type, right? They think they're recording your meeting. Even if it gives you 10, 15 minutes of non-interruptions, you're winning. In terms of that breakfast stuff and in the mornings, Mom, can you do this? Mom, can you do that? You've just got to start pushing back, depending on their age, right? But if, there's good food in the fridge and there's good stuff in the pantry, then it's just about saying, from now on, guys, you're going to make your own breakfast. If your 5-year-old can pour themselves a bowl of cereal and put a little bit of milk on, So again,
I don't think you know my 5-year-old.
All right. Well,
Only if I want milk all over the floor.
Okay. All right. Let's take a step back. Let them choose what they're going to eat, and at least sort of say, okay, what are you having for breakfast? You make it, and then it's okay, your job now is to take that over to the kitchen and put it in the dishwasher, or put it in, or scrape the bits you're not eating into the bin or into the dog's bowl or whatever. So just give them lots and lots of little jobs so that they feel part of the process.
Something we started just as school began was I created each of them a checklist, and they got to help me prioritize what starts and what's the end before school starts.
Perfect.
And it includes having your breakfast, making your bed, combing your hair, getting dressed, brushing your teeth. And they have to do this all on their own. I help them with breakfast because usually it involves, the toaster, and there's cream cheese and bagels and all of that stuff. But they've both caught on really well. And of course, my 4-year-old's like, well, if he does it, then I want to do it. And it has to be in pink. And so she's doing it as well.
Yeah, perfect. And it's it works perfectly, because then you just write it all up on a whiteboard. You get them engaged in terms of, okay, what are you guys going to do? And this goes for around the house as well in terms of general chores. What are you going to do? Write it all up on the whiteboard. They get to tick it off, and when they do go physically back to school, then you can add a new dimension, pack your school bag, unpack your school bag, get out any notes and leave them on the bench for me. And you just add it all in there and get them to be part of that process of working out what they're going to be doing around the house. And that whiteboard can then just sit in the kitchen, and, there will be probably days and years of you reminding them, who's on bins, who's on dishwasher. But that's okay, because I'd rather you be the mum who's reminding as opposed to the mum who's doing it all.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that this is such a big issue for women?
I think, look, I can only talk from my own lived experience and from the women that I've worked with, who tend to be professional women or business women who have kids. And my own experience and many of their experiences, I think that we sort of are these high achieving women who are very focused, very driven with our career, and we have the confidence around our career. And then all of a sudden along comes this baby and we have no idea what we're doing, right? Everything's day is new. Every situation, every age is new. And we're absolutely out of our comfort zone with no idea what we're doing. And on top of that, every Tom, Dick and Harry has an opinion about how we're mothering. And, are you breastfeeding? Aren't you breastfeeding? Are you going to work? Aren't you going to work? Why aren't you working? Why are you working? And it starts to erode your confidence. And I think then, certainly in my own experience, that kind of leached across into my professional life, where all of a sudden I just started to second guess my abilities and my decision making, and, imposter syndrome sort of started to sneak in. And I'm absolutely firm believer that any imposter syndrome I've ever felt, I caught after I had my kids for that very reason. So I then think we're kind of overcompensating. And as these high achieving women who can do it all and be it all and have it all, we take that then back into the home, and we want to be the best mum. We want to, be present for our kids, and we feel this guilt that we're working all the time. And so, we put our hand up to be the class president mum and the head of the band committee and, the treasurer for the basketball committee. And, I'll volunteer 8,000 hours of my time to work at the school fete. And, we feel that we have to be it all and do it all across all aspects of our lives. And that leaves us empty. We have no time for ourselves. We're exhausted. We're stressed, we're anxious, we're ridden with guilt, and it's just no way to live, Michelle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and you also say one of the sentences in the book that I highlighted was that work is our drug of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I, for some reason, it hit me because I'm a workaholic. I know I am. Even as I own my own business now and I set my own hours, my head's constantly going, what's next? What can I do? Oh, there's an idea, to the point that I have a notepad now in my shower. So I can capture these things.
Oh, I love that.
So it's constantly going, and I choose to go. I choose to do this. And I can see how it could be perceived as, I'm using air quotes, a drug, because we want to do more. We want to be more. We want to do this. And, it carries over to aspects of motherhood too. I want to be the best mom. I want to be the one who plays Barbies, in the middle of the day. But at the same time, I want to be selling that course that I just launched,
Exactly.
and making sure people know about it. So
exactly.
Yeah, I don't believe in the word balance. I think it's about living in the moment that you're currently in and enjoying it, and being able to switch those moments, whether it's work or it's, your free time and your regular life. But I can see how it could be perceived as a drug, sort of, because you do get kind of that high, that satisfaction of, look at what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you said that you don't believe in balance, because neither do I. I think this whole concept of work-life balance is another, aspirational kind of thing that we're set up to try and achieve, but we're being set up to fail, because you cannot perfectly balance your work and your life. I mean, work is just part of your life. So, as you said, I think it's around integrating it and work, be where you need to most be at any given time. And if that's on the books and on the tools, then be on the books and the tools. If it's playing Barbies, then play Barbies. It's not about balancing it out. And in terms of it, work being a drug of choice, it's not, I really mean that in terms of it's kind of your addiction. It's where you get your high. It's where you feel wonderful and validated and rewarded and driven. And so, who wants to give that up? I don't want to give that up. I love what I do, and I shouldn't have to not do what I love, because I have a family as well, and I shouldn't be feeling guilty about that. And I need to give myself permission to love all those elements of my life. But I also need to give myself permission just to focus on me from time to time.
Absolutely. I struggle with that one. And it's my own fault because my husband will be the first to say, why don't you just make time to go get your nails done? You want to get them done? Go get them done. Like, what's the problem? And I will come up with excuse after excuse of, well, this day doesn't work. And, you've got this call and the kids have this. And it's really my own fault.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. We do this to ourselves. And it's, I talk about this in the book where we are, kind of killing ourselves with this epidemic of selflessness. And, we have to start being a little bit more selfish. Go get your nails done. Go have a massage. Go for a walk. Sleep in. Whatever you need to do to kind of recharge and feel and be your best, because then you turn up to work at your best. You turn up as your mum at the best. It's about being the best version of you. And to be that, you have to replenish yourself. You have to do the nice, good stuff for yourself.
Yes. I love that. And I love the book. I can't wait for it to be here in the States. You can get it on your Kindle now, but if you want the paper, I think the hard copy version is going to be even better because you've got the worksheets in it. And I was like, I'm on my Kindle. I can't really write in it. And I started to type in one spot. And I'm like, this is going to take too long.
Yeah, no, look, I think there's always something really lovely about a hard copy, something tangible to hold and thumb through and just have that there as your kind of your little go-to guide, your little Bible. I think it's I love the tangibility of a hardcover book.
So when does it come out here in the States?
So it hits the shelves in Target at the end of September. And it's, I know, and it's going to be available all the way through till just after Christmas. So the perfect kind of Christmas present for yourself and all the other awesome mums in your life.
Absolutely. And you all will know when it hits the shelves because I'm going to Target and I will take a picture to show you all that it is there in my hands.
I'm so excited. I need you to do that because, of course, I'm in Australia. So I
will
need
do it.
That. Yeah.
I will so proudly, gladly do that for you. Kate, can you share with everyone where they can find you besides Target?
Yeah. So my website is, my business is called Time Stylers. So my website's www.timestylers.com. And I'm also really active on LinkedIn. So just, connect with me, Kate Christie. You'll find me there, or send me an email to kate@timestylers.com.
And we'll have all this in the show notes, so nobody has to memorize it. We will get it there and on the website. I am so grateful. Thank you so much for joining me and for writing this book that we need in the world.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me on your show. It's just been really, really a great way for me to start my day.
Oh, my pleasure. Hopefully you can come to the States soon and we can have a glass of wine over your book.
You know what? As soon as as soon as borders open up and flights are available and whatever, I'm coming.
I will be here with open arms.
That'd be great.
Okay, guys, have you found your 30 hours yet? I love her term of insourcing. We are all familiar with outsourcing, but insourcing is something we really need to grab the bull by the horns and start utilizing in our homes. I am a big fan of making sure that everyone does their part in my home. So hopefully it's something that you're already doing, but if not, ask for help because it is perfectly okay to ask for help. You shouldn't be doing it all by yourself. I want to hear from you. What are you doing with these extra hours, or how are you implementing more self-care for yourself to refill your cup and replenish your soul? What are you doing for yourself? Send me a DM, an email, and let me know. And if you head over to Target and grab Kate's book, please post a picture and tag us both so she can see that we are over here in America reading it while she's in Australia. Remember, friends, you are in charge of your time and your future, so go make it happen. Stay safe, stay healthy, and until next time.